Police power of the state. Welcome to our discussion on the police power of the state, the specific reference to the Philippine Constitution. I am delighted to guide you through these lessons, where we'll be discussing the definition, scope, characteristics, exercise, and tests that ensure the integrity of police power in the Philippines. Let's get started. Let us begin with its definition and scope. Definition of police power. Police power is an inherent and plenary authority of the state to enact laws, issue regulations, and take necessary measures to protect and promote public health, public safety, public morals, and the general welfare. Although the term police power is not explicitly stated in single provision of the 1987 Philippine Constitution, it is however implied in its very parts, where the state's duty is to uphold the common good and where social justice is emphasized. What are the scope of police power? 1. Regulation of conduct and property. The state may regulate behavior and the use of property, such as through traffic rules or zoning ordinances, to ensure they serve the common good. 2. Prohibition of harmful activities. Activities detrimental to public welfare like pollution or illicit trade can be banned or limited under police power of the state. Promotion of beneficial initiatives. Our government may enact laws promoting public health campaigns, infrastructure development, and social welfare programs. Let us now talk about the characteristics of police power. 1. Is inherent and plenary. Police power does not rely on any constitutional grant. It exists because the state exists, covers a wide range of legitimate government purposes. 2. It is subject to constitutional limitations. Despite its breadth, police power is not absolute. It is constrained by the Constitution, particularly the Due Process Clause and Equal Protection Clause. Under the Bill of Rights. 3. It is dynamic. Police power evolves to address emerging threats and social conditions, such as new technology, environmental issues, and health crises. Primarily it is a legislative function. Although some aspects may be delegated to the executive branch and local government units, police power fundamentally originates in laws passed by Congress or ordinances enacted by local legislative bodies. The exercise of police power. Who exercises police power? 1. Congress, the legislature. Congress enacts the laws that regulate or restrict conduct for the common good. 2. The President, the executive. The President implements these laws and can exercise certain aspects of police power, especially during emergencies. 3. Local governments. Through the local government code, local legislative bodies can pass ordinances for the health, safety, and welfare of their constituents. How is it implemented? Forms of implementation. There are various forms of its implementation. First, by enactment of laws. Examples include the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act and the Consumer Act. Second, through administrative regulations issued by government agencies like the Department of Health or the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. Third, with local ordinances, curfews, zoning laws, and traffic regulations enforced by cities or municipalities. Let us now discuss its difference with other powers of the state. Police power versus other inherent powers. 1. Police power regulates for public welfare. 2. Eminent domain involves the taking of private property for public use with just compensation. 3. Power of taxation raises revenue for public purposes. Now, let's talk about on the test of the police power. The most fundamental is the twofold test. The Supreme Court of the Philippines applies twofold tests to any regulation under police power. First, there must be lawful subject. The subject of the regulation must relate to public health, safety, morals, or the general welfare. Second is the lawful means. The methods used must be reasonable, fair, and not unduly oppressive. These requirements align with the constitutional guarantees of due process and equal protection. Regulation fails if its subject is improper or if the means employed are arbitrary or excessive. How about the integrity of the police power? It has constitutional restraints, or there's the constitutional safeguards against police power. First is the Due Process Clause. The government must not deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Second is the Equal Protection Clause. Individuals in similar situations must be treated alike, both in privileges granted and burdens imposed. These two constitutional safeguards help prevent government abuse or discrimination when exercising police power. What is the role of a judicial review in this exercise of police power of the state? Courts review exercises the police power to ensure 1. Legitimate state interest exists. 2. The means employed are necessary and not unduly oppressive. 3. Protection of fundamental rights, allowing infringements only under compelling circumstances. Let us always be reminded of upholding the public interest. Ultimately, police power adheres to the principle of salus populi et suprema lex, which means the welfare of the people is the supreme law. However, it must be balanced so that, while serving the public good, it does not trample or violate on individual rights. Let us wrap up our discussion. Definition and scope. Police power is the authority to regulate for the common good, covering public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Characteristics. Inherent and plenary. yet constitutionally limited, dynamic, and primarily legislative exercise of police power implemented through legislation, executive enforcement, and local ordinances. Tests of the police power must involve a lawful subject and lawful means, integrity of the police power preserved through due process, equal protection, and judicial review. Thank you for joining our discussion on the police power of the state in the Philippine context. I hope you have gained valuable insights into how the government's regulatory power maintains order, protects citizens, and promotes public welfare. Remember, while police power is broad, it is not limitless. It must always align with the Constitution and serve the greater good, and not to be used to oppress and violate constitutional rights of people.